Oh, I see one person. I've gone live. Just giving everybody a little bit. It takes a little bit once I start the video for it to show up. And then I get this mass rush of member requests right when the videos go live. So I'm kind of trying to do that in the background while I'm starting the live video. Wow, already 56 people. How's everybody doing today? It's Friday. Does it feel like a Friday? I think the only reason I know what day it is because I come on here. So I feel like I'm going to be a bit lost this weekend. Try not doing the drawings. But I have a project for you this weekend. So stay tuned till the end. I'm going to announce that. I have something I want everyone to do this weekend. And I'm also going to spend the weekend learning Facebook groups and live videos. So thanks to Dwayne, my buddy, helping me out. Literally, I am such an amateur, you guys. And there's so many different features that this has. And so I need to figure that out. If it isn't letting you watch, you need to go out and come back in. So it's on your side. If you have trouble with volume, go out, come back in. Oh, someone from the East Coast. Okay. I wanted to talk about that. I want to know where everyone's from. So I think I'm going to create a poll on here asking. I always post the video later. Parveen, is that how you say your name? I hope so. The video also, once I finish it, it takes a couple minutes and it'll post. So you can always go back and watch later. Some things I want to go over. When you're in the Facebook group, there are a couple, there's something called announcements. If you click on that, it's going to give you all the important things that I needed to tell you. The supplies list is in there. You can also find that under topics. I'm setting up topics. Lindsay, that's a great idea. We ask everyone to put their name and their age on their drawing. I would love for you to put your state or your country if you're out of the US, because I have had people added outside of the United States, so that way we know where everybody's from. We're at over 1,400 people at this point. Figured yesterday we had over 200 dinosaurs drawn, and then more will draw them today because people always go back. If you need to find the videos later, you're going to find that under albums. When you open up albums, you're going to see, an album for each drawing, and then you're going to see videos. And so you can look at that. We were on the radio in San Francisco yesterday, so thank you for that connection. I've been shared with news. We'll see if that comes through, and I'm just baffled and blown away. So yeah, super exciting. I did not expect this, but it's been great. It's super fun. And yeah, it gives me just as much distraction. We have adults who are doing this on like a date night, which I love. I mean, I love the kids doing it, but I love that adults are doing it as well. And drawing together. And that's going to tie into everyone's fun homework for this weekend. I'm using a new setup for my phone. So if something happens, I'll go back to the way I did it before. If the live video ever just drops and dies, I will know this and I will start a new one. So, don't panic. We're panicking about enough. So we're drawing Olaf. Is everyone excited for Olaf? Minnesota. Love it. Placerville. Very cool. Lots of West Sac. Hi, Aubrey. Okay, so Olaf today. Olaf is going to be a lot easier than our dinosaur. He has very simple shapes. So here's Olaf. Oh, he's so happy. And again, I kept him very simple today. We did a more complicated one yesterday, but like we always say, make him your own. So if you want to make him smaller on the paper and add a whole big frozen-y background, by golly, you should do that. We had a child yesterday who drew her dinosaur in a bedroom with a Stetson hat hanging on the wall. That child is my spirit animal. It's also my best friend's daughter, so it makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we're getting ready. Olaf it is. We're going to use paper, pencil, black marker or crayon. And because Olaf isn't really going to require a lot of coloring, we're going to use orange for his nose. I colored his mouth in blue, black for his buttons, and then his wood arms. So pretty simple. Let's get ready. And I should be able to see the video this time with this setup if I got this right. Okay, here we go. I'm going to move you guys around. That phone is creating a shadow. There we go. And if this works, this gives me so much more space because I'm not drawing over a mason jar. Okay, there we go. Does that look good for everybody? I can also see your comments now. It's pretty remarkable. All right, so for Olaf, again, I'm going to fill this whole page. I have my page going up and down this time, and but you can draw him much smaller if you like. And I am going to start with his head. So I'm just going to do the top of his head at first. I don't love all those shadows. We'll see how this looks. So I'm just going to do the top of his head, and I'm doing a curved line. We do this line a lot, this moon shape, I would call it. So there is the top of our Olaf head. And then we want to give him the little space for his cheeks because Olaf has that big smile, and so he has cheeks. So we're going to take, on this side, we're going to come out a little bit and then back in. And there's his first cheek. And this side, I'm going to make the cheek a little bit smaller. So come out and back in. So now I kind of have a cheek on both sides of his face. And then we just need to finish his jaw. So his mouth comes down, across, and then we're going to come back up and connect to our cheek line. And that is the start of Olaf's head. Pretty simple. So now we're going to move on to his body. So his body is a half circle. So we're going to curve down. This side I'm going to curve a little bit more. And then I'm going to draw a line and connect those. And look, I didn't meet it. So you know what we do there? We just erase. That's why we do this in pencil first. And now let's do his bottom. So again, half circle down, curve. Do the same on this side. And then a line to connect. And that's our Olaf shape. And now we just have to add his feet. Slightly curved line. I'm going to come straight across, just about, remember, about here's the middle of his body. So I want his leg to end just a little bit inside the middle line. Drawing a lot of times is creating these imaginary lines. So sometimes some people, like myself, I'm really good at visualizing centers. So in my mind, when I'm looking at a drawing, I can see a center line. But if you can't see that center line and you know you want to do the legs on, you know, each side, one on each side, then just with a light pencil mark, and you won't be able to see this, but draw yourself a middle line. A lot of artists do that. They draw what they call their guidelines. So some can very easily visualize where they're placing things. Others need a little more assistance. So just give yourself a little guideline to go off of. And now let's do his other leg on his other side. And I'm going to make this one tilting up a little bit, almost like he's in a little bit of a dance. There we go. There's our Olaf. He's coming along. This one's going to go a lot faster. Let me give you guys a little bit of time to catch up if you're behind. We're going to do arms next. So his arms are kind of branches. So the fun thing about Olaf's arms is you don't need a straight line at all here. In fact, you want that line to be wavy. And he has a thumb. And then he has 3 fingers. And you can make a finger pointy, curved. Oh, my dogs. Move this over. See, now I can see what I'm doing too. It's nice. Come back in. So there's his 3 fingers. And I'm going to make that line a little jagged and wavy, because they're supposed to be a branch. So this one, because his body, I'm kind of making him dancing. We're kind of seeing it from, you know, some of his body is in the way of his arm. But this side, I want to have his arm actually coming out of his body. So we did this yesterday with our dragon, where we drew over a line and then we erased that line. So we're going to start his arm here, a little bit inside of his body. We're going to come up. Give him that thumb. And I made that line way too straight. I'm so used to just doing straight lines. So when I go back with pen, that's when I'll make it curvy. And then 3 fingers. And wavy back to the body. And then we're going to finish this arm inside. And now I'm going to take that little line I had made for Olaf's body, and I'm just going to erase it. So now I have one arm, so it kind of looks like he's turning. Looks like he's in a mid dance. Everybody going good so far? Not seeing as many comments, so I assume everybody's drawn away. It's nice to actually draw and be able to see the screen and see your comments. I see a thumbs up, so I'm going to assume everybody's doing well. So now I'm going to go ahead and do his buttons. He has buttons made of coal, so I'm kind of doing little wavy square shapes. One up on the top, and then he has 2 on the bottom. One more. Oh man, I see some mad faces. What are the mad faces about?
You figured out how to see the...
I did. So now he has his 3 buttons, 2 on the bottom and 1 up on the top. 178. My kid just walked in.
Have fun.
Explain more. Okay. I will try to do that. The slowing down, it's always going to be hard to keep up because I don't want to make these videos an hour long. And, you know, if we were on YouTube or something, you would watch it and pause it as you need it. So I always suggest that when you are going at the end, if your child is struggling and hasn't caught up, then go back and watch the video again and kind of let them pause where they need to. We did that yesterday. I had a real little one here with me, and after I did the video, I went out with her and we watched the video again, and I just went over it. We paused it where we need to and stopped where we need to. So you know, you always have that option for, I try to give some time to catch up, but you always have that option to kind of go back and look again. I'm going to go ahead and do the branches on top of his head now. So he has these 3 little branches that give him hair. So I'm just going to do one straight line kind of in the middle, and I'm going to do some little lines off of that for the branch, little twigs. And then the one next to it, I'm going to make that curved. So I'm going to curve out, and then I'm going to give another line for the twigs. And let's give him one more on this side, curving the other direction just slightly, and then a line out. So there we go. There's Olaf so far. All we're missing is Olaf's face. So I'm going to start with Olaf's smile, because his smile is pretty much the biggest thing on his body. And I know exactly where to put his smile because I have given him cheeks. So the curve of the cheek, the curve of the mouth, should be somewhere where you made these little cheek spaces. So I'm going to put one over here, and I'm just making that slight half moon shape again. And then I'm going to put one over here. So this is what I'm going to use as a guide to build his mouth. So a mouth, the top part is going to curve down and come back up to this other curve. So now I've connected these 2 lines. And then his mouth is big and open. So I'm going to come almost down to the bottom of his chin with this really exaggerated curve. I'm going to drop it down, really exaggerated curve, come back around, and then come back up and connect up here. And there we go. That's how we do his mouth. So it's just the 2 guidelines, our 2 cheek guidelines. When you smile, you get those creases, the line to connect those, and then the big exaggerated bottom curve of the mouth. And we're just missing one key thing for Olaf, his giant tooth. Next, I'm going to do his nose, because his nose is built, his eyes build off of his nose. So because one eye is behind, I'm going to start with his nose first, since that is in the front. Okay? So just a little bit up. I know that the nose is going to come downward, so I want to have space for that carrot point. So I'm going to start my nose in this space that's left, let's say. Let's go about halfway. That's where I'm going to start the top of my nose. And I'm just going to do a small curve. And then we're making that carrot shape, which is kind of a curve. It's a triangle, but it has curved edges instead of sharp edges. So coming down, and then I'm doing a curve, and then going back. And remember, if you don't meet your line, then you just erase. Or if you completely miss it, you just redo that mark again. And once we add our little stripes in here, it'll look more like a carrot. Just a couple things left on Olaf, so we're going to give him an eye. So the first eye is kind of hiding a little bit behind this nose, and his eyes are just big circles. So there's his first eye. And his eye has another circle inside of it. And then remember, when we're doing the eyes, how we always give them those little spots of white. We've done it with every drawing we've done. So inside of this area, because I'm going to color this area all black, I'm going to do one more circle in there, and that's the area I'm going to keep white. It adds a sparkle and a brightness and just a more kind of realistic and yet also cartoony look to an eye. So when you look at most drawings, in fact, if you look at most pictures of yourself, you'll always see these little areas of white. And so now I want to do a circle about the same size that's kind of right next to this one. And I'm having them touch. And that worked out. If it doesn't look big enough for you, sometimes what I'll do, let me show you an example. So if I made a circle, and then I'm making another circle next to it, and it turns out to look smaller, I'll keep going using those existing circle lines until I have a shape that matches. So I end up with like a swirl, but now I just erase those inner lines, and I end up with two circles that are about the same shape. And that works better than just if you did this and then you made one smaller and you erase the whole thing. Well, now you don't know how big you made it last time. So it's easier to take what you did and then just over exaggerate what you did until you have a shape that matches. And then you can always erase those lines. So that's how I try to get circles the same size if it doesn't work out. In fact, last night's drawing, it didn't work out. This eye, you can even see where I erased because I got the pen. This eye was way smaller than that eye, so I just kept drawing. Okay. Let's give him the other circle inside of his eye. And then his little circle of light. And last thing we have for Olaf are his eyebrows. He has two little eyebrows up top. You can just make these. Eyebrows usually you have like a little starting line. And then you're going to come out and curve it to a point. And then you bring that point back to your original starting line. And that is Olaf. Now we just need to outline him in pen. Oops. Hit my light. Let me get my pen. So I'm just going to recreate all of these steps. Remember, if you don't go exactly on top of your line, that's fine. I'm going to make this cheek a little bit smaller. This is the time to adjust, because once it's in pen, it's on there. And so see, I can go in when I'm done and I can just erase that. And now his cheek to me has a better shape. I made it too pointy. His nose. The eyeballs. inner eye. And now remember, I don't want to color that little spot. So I'm going to go around it and color that in. I always color in anywhere that I need black, except for his buttons. I'm actually not going to do his buttons with pen, but any of my smaller areas that need to be black, I usually just go ahead and do that when I have the black pen in my hand. Give that little space. So see that space, it adds character and it adds a brightness to his eyes. And sometimes you can move them and like if I put one way on the top and one way on the bottom, it makes his eyes look like they're like looking off in different places. You can kind of make eyes look silly. Go ahead and color his eyebrows in. Give his smile. And his tooth. Oh, let's do his hair. I'm going to do these lines of his hair in black, and then what I did last night is I went over them just a little bit with some brown pencil to make them look a little bit more like a twig, like they were made of wood. Now next, I'm going to go ahead and do his arms. So I'm going to do this wavy line, that thumb. I like making his fingers kind of different shapes and sizes because they really are just supposed to look very branch-like. And this one's going to stop on the body, so I'm going to go ahead and do that curved line of the upper body. And now this one is going to be inside the body, so I'm going to do that first. Go ahead and do his thumb, and then come down. A little bit of wave there. I didn't do that wave, remember, before I made it too straight, so I added a little wave once I had my pen. And then our three shapes. 3 fingers, and then back in to that line. And now this is where I'm just going to do the line on the top and the line on the bottom because I erased that line in the middle. And then a line across. We're over halfway done. I see you, Ezra. Leighton didn't want to draw today. And then one foot kicking up. Love you too. Seriously, guys, this is so much fun for me. I love you all being here. I love that now I can see on the screen. I'm learning something new every day myself. I'm seriously such an amateur. Let's do the buttons. I've watched videos like this on YouTube, both for my age and younger. I like drawing all sorts of things, and man, they always made it look so easy. So there we go. There's our Olaf. And now, if you've done all your lines in pen, you're just going to go in and erase. A lot of you have asked, so I'm just going to do another reminder, talk while I'm erasing, about what supplies I use. There is an area called topics, and one of the topics is supplies, or if you click on announcements, it will give you all the different pens and paper and everything that I like to use. But of course, you know, you can use anything. I linked to a company called Blick. For those who are in Sacramento, you know, once we can leave our houses, Blick has an amazing store. It's on Howe Avenue. They do price, you know, if you find it somewhere cheaper, they'll price match it. They do great deals. So I do a lot of stuff there. That place for me, like it's dangerous for me to go into. But a lot of the black pens you can just get at Target. And I actually think this booklet of paper I'm using right now this came from Target. I like when they're thicker, but real smooth. So they don't show texture when you color. If I want texture, I want to do it myself. I don't want the paper to give my drawing texture. So it took me a long time to find papers I like, because a lot of times drawing papers are so textured, and then you start coloring and it's like gives everything this wavy look. I didn't like that. Okay, so coloring. He doesn't have that much color in him. So he's got his nose. We're going to do that orange. I'm going to turn this. I can't tell you with the setup I did today how much easier it is for me, because I can actually move around and I can see. I was so afraid to move the paper before because I couldn't tell if it moved it for you guys. And then I'm going to do some darker carrot. You know, carrots kind of look striped. Just doing some darker kind of carrot lines in his nose. And I like to do his mouth inside blue. I don't even know if that's really accurate in Frozen when he opens his mouth, if it's blue. But to me, he's made of snow and ice. And so I want some color on my page. And I thought, if I was Olaf, I would have blue inside my mouth because I'm icy cold. Remember, I like to color around the edges first. Helps me stay in line, and then I can just go to town once I'm in that middle area. Tips for coloring in the lines. I don't know if you guys can hear my dog. He's really mad I won't let him in the room. Now I need a brown. For the arms. So again, kind of going down the edge on this side. And then I'll go down the edge in. Edge in. Fingers are narrow, so I can just kind of fill those in. And then again, because this is a stick, I'm going to do some like darker lines within it just to give it some texture. Because a stick wouldn't be consistently the same color. Let's do that on the other side. Go from the out in. fingers. And then add some of those texture marks. And last but not least, we have his black buttons. I can remember coloring as a kid, and I would get a coloring book, and this was exactly how I learned to stay in the lines, is I would do like what I just did. I would take my crayon and I would just literally outline the guideline that they gave, the drawing line, just like that. It just helps teach you to stay in the lines because it gives you some extra room almost. I don't even know how to describe it, but you know, once that's done, then I can just go for it. I don't have to be as careful because I've given myself that border to work with. So it's a great way for your kiddos to learn to color in the lines. From your other videos, what do you mean you're not a professional? I am not trained to draw. I'm not trained to teach kids. I manage health insurance. I've just been drawing my whole life. I'm not trained in videography. I'm in no way a professional instructor. So, you know, I'm winging it. And there's my Olaf. So again, maybe you made your Olaf smaller and you added a background. Maybe you can add some, you know, snowflake designs up in the corner. You could have given your Olaf a summer hat. Doesn't he always daydream about it being summer? I'm just going to keep mine simple today. Just the Olaf. And I'm going to say, oh yes, and I am an aquafit instructor too. I do teach people water aerobics. See you Monday. And I am Stacy, and I am 44, and I'm from California. Let me flip this around. I have one more announcement to make. Oh, yes, the hair outlined in brown. I didn't do that, but yes, you can do that. I forgot that step. Just adding that little bit of brown up by the hair. This weekend, so no drawing this weekend. That's going to be my time to figure out more features about this live stuff. We'll tell your son thank you. Keep posting your list of drawings you want to see. Keep posting your drawings directly on the page. Don't leave them in the comments of this video. I go late at night and create an album so everyone can look. Here is your project for this weekend. I want you all to draw each other. I know most of you are doing this with a child or you have 2 kids, but you're going to do a blind drawing. So what that means is you are going to not look at the paper. you're just going to look at the person and you're going to draw that person. So in your mind, you're going to imagine where their eyes are while you're just looking at them, and no cheaties, no looking at the paper. And I want you to do a drawing of somewhere of the person that you're with. If you don't have a buddy, then do a self-portrait. So get a picture of yourself and then draw yourself blind without looking at the paper. And then everyone, on any time this weekend, whenever you finish it, Sunday, Saturday night, whatever, post those. I want to see everyone's blind drawings. These are going to look hilarious. Mouths might be on top of eyes. It's just a funny, wonky, like, drawing assignment. So keep up the good drawings. I will see you on Monday, 10 a.m. I will announce Sunday night what we're drawing. Thank you very much. It's been fun. Bye.